Hey everybody, how's it going? Uh, I really didn't announce this. I really do need to announce this more on social media. I do announce my live sometimes on my Facebook group. I need to do that more often. I have been really active on my Instagram, so if you want to check me out on Instagram, I'm Centaur_fragrance. I'm gonna see who wants to pop in this evening. I know it usually about 6 o'clock is best, but it's still beautiful weather out here today. I wanted to enjoy it while before it's too cold. Before it's too cold, I wanted to get out here, and I'm going to be a little bit unprofessional. I might just eat a little bit. I haven't eaten my dinner yet, so Joseph, how are you doing? What's your scent of the day? We're just going to have a fragrance chat, so let me know what's on your mind. What have you been wanting to talk about? I did have something on my mind, but I don't know if people want to hear about this topic. To me, it's just a food for thought kind of topic. It's really been interested. Let me see here. And the little dogs want some of my food. Says, do women have different scent lever, lover? I'm not sure what you're asking. If you're asking if they had love different scents, I think that they do. I think that men sometimes like tobaccos and heavier woods. Do women have different scent level? They do seem to like fragrances that are they're noticeable, but more on the light side. I think that I've heard that they have a better sense of smell. So I think that is a real thing. I do think men like to really project and get noticed. Sometimes they overspray, and they don't tend to realize how much they're spraying. And if they get close to people, they can choke people out. And I haven't done that too much myself, but some people are sensitive. Some people have health issues, and I choked out somebody at work one time, and I only wore like 5 sprays of Versace Pour Homme or Versace Signature. It's very fresh and very clean, but it does project fairly well in the first 30 minutes or an hour or so. But yes, I do think ladies have a stronger sense of smell. I'm not going to try to debate if they have a better sense of smell or not, or get into that at all. But and women do tend to like sweet scents or aquatic scents on men. They tend to like either or, but of course we're all unique and we're all different. As a guy, I love frangipani on a lady. I love vanilla, and I love peach. Oh, and apricot. So that smells pretty similar to peach, though. Hopefully, I helped you out with that question. Scent of the day is Salvatore Ferragamo Umo Signature. Do you mean Ferragamo Umo? It might be. Oh, you mean the Umo signature? Yeah, that one's really really nice. It's has some leather. It's not as sweet. It's not as rich as the original. But it's a little bit classier. That's a really nice scent. About I think a month or two ago, that started hitting the TJ Maxxes and the Ross. That's one of the topics maybe I'll talk about, and I have another topic I'll talk about tonight. One of them is kind of TJ Maxx's. I've kind of talked about this a little bit on my channel. I'm going to make the full length video about it. But if you want the best fragrance prices, you really don't shouldn't be going to TJ Maxx's and Ross's. I really don't understand the popularity behind going to TJ Maxx and Ross and some of these like local discounter stores, unless you have a specialty discount store, and you're very lucky to have one that's reputable and dependable. You're not getting the best prices at those, and you're often limited to what's been recently discontinued, often flankers that really aren't that popular. I mean, yes, it's convenient if you don't want to save up 50, 75, even $100 to get that free shipping from FragranceNet or Fragrance by CA. But you often don't have a great selection. You often aren't getting the best prices. Sure, every once in a while you might find a red sticker clearance fragrance. You might find an amazing price. You might get very lucky with finding a spectacular deal. But those don't always happen, and people it seems they're hitting those places very often. So there's some people who really hunt, and then they even hide fragrances. Some of the better ones, and often the fragrances I see heavily clearanced or heavily on discount are Bond Number Nines and a few Aqua de Parmas. I haven't really seen any higher in niche or anything maybe higher end designer. I don't think you'd ever see a Dior, or maybe a Chanel at one of those. Well, at least one of the higher end ones. Maybe a Dior Sauvage, maybe. Um, so that's just my opinion, of course, but I think it's better that if you research, sample, and look into, save up that a little bit of money and buy from like FragranceNet or Fragrance by CA, or if you're in the UK, I think Notino's there for you and a few other places, but there's so much selection out there, even, things that are discontinued, hard to find. I talk to so many people and fragrances I recommend and other fragrance reviewers talk about, and they say, I just can't find that fragrance that I want. A popular fragrance, a flanker, or something that the fragrance reviewers really talk about as being a good value. It's because that stuff's not available, at your local store. Most of the fragrances I own were not in store. Most of the fragrances I like, the flankers I bought, the cheapies I blind bought, those kinds of things, I've never found them from a TJ Maxx. I would have never found them unless I went to FragranceNet or one of these places. And I'm not affiliated with any of these stores. Probably don't really know who I am. They've never sent me a paycheck, but by golly, that's just my recommendation. It's just my opinion, but I think that you can save up some money and do your research and get a lot. You have so much variety. There's tons of variety, and you can find some of those higher end niche fragrances that everybody talks about. You can find Parfums de Marly, some of the Penhaligons. You can find Creeds, and some of these other fragrances at FragranceNet for $100 off or more. You can save a lot of money. So I don't know. Some people love the chase. I'm not trying to discourage anybody. Some people love to go to TJ Maxx, and some people love to go to Ross. And they love the hunt. They love to see if they're going to find a deal today. They're going to find something new. And some people like the activity. They love going to a physical store. But I'm saying if you're trying to save your time, to me, that's the biggest thing. I mean, even if they had some of the stuff I wanted, which they don't at TJ Maxx and Ross, they don't have the fragrance I want. They don't have the best price, and I have to go and spend my time to go out there and my gas money. It's just a bunch of negatives, but that's just my personal opinion. You know, some people like to go out there and hunt for a good fragrance. So, um, I would just say that if again, there's so much out there to explore. There's so many fragrances, so many upcoming brands, so many brands that people don't know about. You might have to sample. You might have to travel to a bigger city, go to a boutique, but I wouldn't limit yourself to just the TJ Maxx or just the Ross. I wouldn't do that. Unless you're good friends with them and you can return whatever you want. Like if you open it and get to smell it and then you actually don't like the fragrance or you don't think it performs on you, and they'll allow you to return your fragrance. Unless you're really good friends, your buddies, with the owners or I don't know, the cashier. I just wouldn't go there. Joseph says, "Okay, that's what I wanted to know. I meant sense of smell. Thank you. Yeah, I do think ladies have a great sense of smell. They've always been able to pick up on fragrances really well." Joseph says, "Scent of the Night is YSL El Homme. Very versatile fragrance. It's personally not one for me, but it's good. What are you cooking for dinner tonight, Ben?" Um, I have some. I think it's couscous. It's some rice, and it's just something quick and easy. And I have some. What's it called? I don't. When I'm in thought, when I'm thinking of all kinds of things, and the dog's going over there, boudin. It took me a second. It's a certain type of sausage, like a bratwurst or something. And it's Cajun. It has certain spices, and it has rice inside. It's very soft, and you usually have to cook it a little bit longer on lower temperature. But I just have that over rice, and it gets kind of crumbly, and it's just a fast, easy meal. It's slightly spicy, so um, good day, Ben. Yeah, how you doing, my friend? How you doing? It's good to see everybody. Scent of the day is Alexandria's Chick Magnet. I have not tried that one. Alexandria and Dua come out with a lot of fragrances, a lot of new stuff. So, what's up, bud? How y'all doing today? Making sense is in the house. A good fragrance reviewer for sure. Sorry about it. Sounds delicious. Bon appetit. Thank you. Hopefully y'all apologize. I mean, I apologize. I don't have good etiquette. So, what's the topic that y'all want me to talk about? Is there anything on your mind? Because I'm about to jump to the big topic, something I'm just gonna throw out there today and talk about. It's somewhat similar to some of the stuff I've talked about. That's a little bit different. Sounds delicious. Yeah. If y'all don't know good Cajun food, again, I am a Southern person, but I appreciate all cultures. I'm a big fan of curry. I mean, there's so much good food around there from all around the world. Korean barbecue is crazy. Peruvian food really shocked me. It's amazing too. I never thought that people would have like sauces and make like certain, almost like Latin style cuisine over French fries and like fried potatoes. I thought it was really fun. There's so much good stuff out there, not only in fragrances to explore, but spices, flavors, people to meet. So try to make the best of life. Have a happy life and try out something new. Sometimes we are on a budget. Sometimes we don't have the most money, but it's not too hard to, spend $5 or $10 on some spice and try something new. Like if you've just like the Latin people love to do with your hot cocoa, put a little bit of cinnamon in there. The Spanish people love to do that. If you've with rice, if you've never had saffron rice, saffron's a little bit expensive, but you could do it for a holiday. Do something a little different. Where there's so much stuff that's easy to cook. Make a homemade pizza if you've never made a homemade pizza. Uh, Chick Magnet is a clone of Escada Magnetism. I've heard about Escada Magnetism. I think I might have tried it a long time ago. I bet I don't think the Escada lasts very long, so I bet the Chick Magnet really does last. So that's fantastic. I do have some reviews of Alexandria coming. I actually did 3 reviews today. I like to work ahead. I have like 50 videos in K. I'm very hardworking. Y'all know I upload just about every day, and I really, YouTube and my life and everything isn't about the numbers, but I do want to reach more people. I do want to grow, and I do care about everybody in the fragrance world. I want to be a good influence, and I want to help people with fragrance. I guess that kind of segues and kind of jumps into what I wanted to talk about tonight. So the kind of spicy topic I wanted to talk about tonight was video like why do some reviewers and why do some YouTubers get big while others stay small? I think I have, for example, I have about 10 more videos than Jeremy Fragrance. I'm not criticizing Jeremy. He is a very hardworking guy and he does his own thing. He helps get a lot of people into the fragrance community. I'm not bashing him. He's just the biggest fragrance reviewer probably. So that's why I'm talking about him. I know that he does delete videos from time to time, but currently I have 10 more videos than he's produced. I have 10 more videos up. And I know he has ladies. I know he's charismatic. I know that he loves to twirl. But if I have the same amount of content video wise, I know he's been around for a couple years, longer than I have. But why do I have less than 2,000 and he has so many? YouTube, as y'all know, I did a post on my Facebook. Some people just in the YouTube world are talking about it. There was an algorithm changed that everybody knew about the recent change. To if you're advertising to children or not, and then they made another change right after that. That was more about the ethics in YouTube and kind of things that people would see as small, but it was one of the things in the finer print was that they're supporting or they're changing the algorithm essentially to focus to authoritative content. So if you're a an established reviewer, or let's just look at it this way. Let me give you an example. Let's say there's 10 people who search for the exact same thing on YouTube. When they search in there, the algorithm wise, you know, if somebody has 10 times or 100 times of views and subscribers, it's gonna get pushed that content. Most likely Jeremy Fragrance. Even if I have better tags, even if I did my review before he did, maybe I did my review before he did, and I actually had some more views for like 30 seconds. The YouTube is going to push the higher or authoritative content because the way they're seeing it is because they have more social proof, because Jeremy or somebody like that supposedly has more, social proof that it would help them. It would be good to push his content. So if you're an upcoming fragrance reviewer, it's very, very difficult. Or if you're just a YouTuber in general, it's extremely difficult to gain traction and to grow. If you're going into a more if you're going into a topic or an area that has a lot of competition. If you do your own wacky, whimsy thing that's very different, you can catch on if you do your own niche and you're very persistent. But if you try to jump into anything like fashion or makeup or fragrance reviewing or anything that has a lot of competition, the people who have a lot more subscribers, who have been around for a longer period of time, that no matter if, even if their content isn't as good as yours, which I'm not saying that mine's better than Jeremy's, I'm just saying that YouTube is going to funnel that content their way and promote them, um, and it's really frustrating. Also, this, if you go on my Facebook, I shared the video from another YouTuber, and he also claims that he had about 2,000 views on one of his videos, or close to 2,000, I think it was, and they took away his actual views to about 200 or so. He hasn't bought reviewers. He's a real deal honest guy, and he's put in a lot of work, and he's a good reviewer. And he did a review of some fragrances before anybody else did, and fragrances that were kind of big name. So he kind of suspects that YouTube, somebody involved with YouTube, didn't want his channel because it's smaller to really get that authoritative push. He had done that review so early and gotten so many views that he was started. It would have gained traction, and it possibly would have overpowered somebody with authoritative content if it would have came on later on. Also, he didn't say it, but I'll say it. You could suspect foul play. It's happened a time or two with YouTube that if a company doesn't like what you're doing, talking about their product, or vice versa. It happened with Smelling Great Fragrance Reviews. He used to be pretty critical of fragrances. He really put his opinion out there. And I don't want to even say the name of the company, but I've mentioned them before and I've talked about it. In the past, they used to be extremely aggressive to fragrance reviewers if you were critical of them. And they would try to use YouTube against you to flag you, say that essentially that was their copyrighted fragrance or content, and that we were using it without permission. Um, and YouTube can do the same thing, with a fragrance. For example, if there's a really popular fragrance, let's say it's a Roja. I'm just using them for example. Let's say it's a Roja. Let's say it's a Creed. And let's say I'm the first person to make that fragrance review. I have connections, or I'm a neighbor, or I'm good friends with Creed, or something. This is all hypothetical. And let's say that I get that fragrance before anybody else does, and I put out that video, and I have good tags, I have a good thumbnail. I start getting the traction. Somebody in YouTube, Creed or whoever, could report that, my video to YouTube and get it flagged and really cut it down the size, and neuter my review. Um, and that kind of stuff I think is happening in YouTube more and more. So I'm kind of worried. I'm kind of worried about that. Um, and the world of YouTube and what I do, I'm passionate about fragrance. I'm passionate about helping people find good fragrances, save money, have fun. I'm here to have fun. But also, if you don't feel like you're having any reach, if you feel like you're not growing, it's a big negative, because you are on YouTube, to get noticed. And I only talk about this because you are having to try to play this little game. With y'all know how YouTube is. It's not like everybody's at a county fair It's not like everybody's at a public square inside the middle of the city, and we all have the same voice, and we all can, everybody can hear everybody equally. Again, I'm just making a comparison, but YouTube is putting some people on a pedestal because they deem them as authoritative content. There's a few people who I won't name names, but one of them's a lady, and she came into the fragrance community, and she just soared, and then she dipped, and some people suspect that she bought reviews, and she's wonderful. She has a great personality. A lot of people like her in the fragrance community, and I won't say who it is, but why she has amazing editing, very friendly, very charismatic, and they were deemed as authoritative content, and now they get pushed and pushed and pushed, and they're growing. And I have tons more content. I mean, so many more videos, and I'm in depth, and I get people involved in my comment section and everything. So I'm not discouraged. I don't want y'all to think that, and I'm not here just because of the views. But when you put this kind of work into something and you're this passionate about it, and you hope that people see it. You hope that people love your content, and YouTube has a serious problem. There's people like me out there, people like me who put in 300 videos. I've seen people out there on the YouTube world who have like 40 videos. They only have 40 videos, and they have hundreds of thousands of subscribers with only 40 videos. I mean, I have 300, and great videos. I mean, not all of them are great. My first 50 or so weren't very good. I'm not the best person on the screen. I'm not the best YouTuber in the world, but I'm recording in high definition now. I'm putting out my work. I'm have good thumbnails, tags. I do my darnest to you know help get me going. I even have my own Facebook group, and I do all these things to try to help me. But uh, so it's so funny the way the world is. I'm just commenting because some of these things are absolutely crazy uh, in the world. I'm gonna catch up with the comments. Sorry. Uh, I'm sorry. That's my kind of rant, and I can talk a little bit more about it. But I think things are kind of crazy in the YouTube world. I think there's some problems because there's people out there who really should be getting more of the views. I think people are watching their content longer. They definitely put better, more information, better information. They might be the first person to review something. It's just crazy. For example, if somebody was to search for something like Zurius Rouge or something I've reviewed, and they put fragrance at the end of it, I might be the top five because I'm one of the few people who reviewed it. But just because somebody else is so high, highly suggested, again, authoritative content, it might just put Jeremy Fragrance's video on the top. Just because you search for something fragrance or related, it's not going to bring you directly to the video or directly to the topic that you were searching for, and that's absolutely crazy. It's absolutely ridiculous. Um, so you think Dior Homme will end up as expensive as vintage La Nuit? Um, so sad that these two beauties vanished like that. I do think it's very possible. There's a lot of traction behind that fragrance. A lot of people love that fragrance. They love the iris. They love that fragrance. And I do think that the Dior Homme is going to get very expensive. The it's been discontinued. It's not in their on their website. They're not really. It's getting really hard to find overnight. So if you like any of the versions, like if you absolutely love them, you can't live without them. Buy the batch of whatever it is, Dior Homme, Dior Homme Intense, or Dior Homme Parfum before it's gone, because the prices are only going to go up on these kinds of things. The same thing with Mugler. I don't think that they're going to completely X Pure Malt or Pure Havana. They're such big top sellers, and I think they do very well. But I seriously think that almost everything else from Mugler could be reformulated, and most of it dropped from the collection. I mean, the majority of it. I think that Mugler Alien Majestux, I think that's how you say it. It's more of a lady's fragrance. I think it's a beautiful, modern, wearable, almost oud-like fragrance for a lady. It's very classy and regal, and almost on the woody Oriental side of things. So That one's gone. There's a lot of these fragrances that are gone. If you go to FragranceNet, go to FragranceNet right now and type in Mugler. There's a lot of things that you think that might not even be discontinued, and you can't even buy them from FragranceNet anymore. A lot of them are completely gone. Pure wood, pure coffee, pure leather's gone. Pure Tonka is not available on FragranceNet. All these fragrances are almost completely gone. There's only a few bottles left of these things on eBay. So if you like any of these things, you got to get those soon. There's still a few bottles of Cryptomint kicking around. The supply hasn't dried up on that one, and the price isn't ridiculous on Cryptomint. It just didn't sell very well, honestly. Some people love it, and some people hate Cryptomint. But we can already see, like with Ultra Zest with Mugler, Ultra Zest is like, I think it goes up from $100 to $140 or so for a bottle. So it gets crazy. I think I personally wouldn't pay for a fragrance. I don't get that connected with my memories with a fragrance to really have to have it. A fragrance that kind of way to pay, double the retail price for a fragrance. Recently, I sold my bottle of Gucci Pour Homme 2. I think it was a beautiful tea fragrance. I think it's maybe the best tea fragrance on the market that's maybe ever been made. As far as in the designer scheme of things. And it also had a beautiful violet. I like the vibe. It was clean, easy to wear. But y'all know that it had huge longevity issues. And that I had a brand new, sealed full size bottle, and on eBay, and the price is probably going to go up. I probably should have held on to it, but I sold it for like 175 bucks. People will buy this stuff, and it gets crazy out there. My Acqua di Gio Essenza, I really like that fragrance. It was a really long-lasting aquatic, but that fragrance is sky high and through the roof. And I warned people that I think the supply was drying up, or I think it was discontinued. And 5 months or so after I did my video on YouTube, the price just went crazy. And Acqua di Gio Essenza is an extremely valuable fragrance now, and people will pay big bucks. So fragrances prices can be crazy. You never know how expensive a fragrance is going to get. If it's really popular, you can hold on to it. If it's really desirable, you could even invest in it. It gets crazy. DJ says, I think a lot of it has to do with the same thing people aim for in basic fragrances. Mass appeal, I actually search for people who don't pander to the masses and do unique. Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to get more views as a fragrance reviewer if you just review designers. I think everybody knows that in the fragrance world. I think everybody knows that in the fragrance community. There's a lot more popularity. A lot more people are interested and want to hear about, Dior Sauvage or whatever it might be. They saw a commercial about it. Their cousin's wearing it. Somebody at work is wearing Dior Sauvage. So they get on YouTube and type in Dior Sauvage. And somebody tells them about, that fragrance. That's really how things work in this world. Not, even fantastic fragrances I've reviewed and other reviewers have reviewed, if they're not easily accessible, if people haven't heard about them, it's kind of might be uncomfortable for some people who to blind buy some samples, or definitely blind buy a fragrance if they don't hear a lot of people talking about it, if they don't know, where to go to really get it. You have to buy a lot of these things online. Depending on where you live, that might be more difficult than others. I know that shipping to Australia is absolutely atrocious with the price of how expensive it is. And depending on where you live, um, you know, there's a lot of European brands that I would like to get samples of, and I usually don't mess with them because the prices for shipping are just really high. And I think it's the same thing, vice versa. I've talked to people who would like some of these fragrances from the U.S. brands, and the shipping and all that just kind of hurts the deal. So, yeah, I'm definitely here to share some of the unique fragrances, the fragrances that people don't talk about, don't know about, and even some cheapies. There are so many good fragrances out there that I've talked about that are fantastic values for money. Fantastic values. Everybody, needs to try an experience, especially for the money, like the Lique Pour Homme. If you're a gentleman, especially, and you like aromatic fragrances, fresh, clean fragrances, and you want to smell very classy, for the money, La Lique Pour Homme, you know, that it's a beautiful fragrance. It's the one with the horse head. No, not the horse head, the lion head. The horse head is Equus, and that's a completely different fragrance. If you love woody, slightly leathery, animalic stuff, it's still kind of clean in its weird, in its own weird way. You might like the Equus, but the Lique Pour Homme for 20-25 bucks, unbelievable value, and it's a beautiful fragrance. It beats, even in my opinion, a lot of niche fragrances that try to be clean and crisp and citrusy and easy to wear for how long it lasts and the price and the quality. I mean, sometimes that happens. There are some wonderful fragrances out there. I don't even own Bleu de Chanel, YSL, or Dylan Blue, and never have. I find general safe fragrances to be too boring to spend the money on, and so I search out channels like these. Evening, Ray Ford, and thank you, DJ, for that comment. And DJ, I'm 100% with you. I don't wear interesting fragrances to exactly be rebellious. I firmly believe here at Centaur Fragrance Channel that people should be buying and wearing fragrances that they connect with. Some people are going to connect with blue fragrances. Some people are going to connect with mass appealing fragrances. Invictus, Dior Sauvage, Bleu de Chanel. They're going to connect with these very popular fragrances, and that's perfectly fine. Nothing's wrong with it. But I do think that if people to find something that works with their personality, I do think if they're especially building a collection, if you want variety, you are going to have to search out and test tons of fragrances and find what works for you, what works with your skin, what kind of performance do you like, where do you live, what kind of seasons do you live somewhere where it's colder, do you live somewhere where it's hotter, do you live somewhere where it's very humid, do you live in a desert where it's extremely dry. I mean, there's all kinds of factors, and you don't have to be so fussy about these things, but in my mind, it certainly is something that I very much care about. And I used to have Dylan Blue, and I did like it for a short season. I ended up selling it. Um, the sweetness in the fragrance kind of got to me. I think it's a little bit too sweet. But I did like the interesting papyrus vibe. I did like that it was a darker kind of blue fragrance, and the shampoo vibe didn't bother me as much in Dylan Blue. If they ever make a noir or an absolute version of Dylan Blue from Versace, I will be excited to try that fragrance. It might just be the perfect one. Bleu de Chanel never was amazing for me. The EDP is pretty good. The Parfum to me is just really boring, although it does smell pretty nice. But I thought the citruses off the EDT were actually synthetic, and I really didn't do a review of that one. I didn't really want. At the time, I was really uncertain about really putting my opinion out there, and I didn't want to offend anybody. But I do not like Bleu de Chanel EDT. I do not like the citruses off the top. They don't smell good to me at all. And there's a few mass appealing fragrances I don't know. Maybe y'all will like me being more critical of fragrances in the future. I think YSL personally, I can't stand this stuff. I don't. I think there was what's that brand called? It's like Oh Hadrian. There's a fragrance. It's the same one that made Petite Cherie. I'm trying to remember the name of the brand. Anyways, if you search that one, it's like Hadrian. Especially if you go to my Fragrantica account, you'll find that I did a review of that one, and it's like a much better version, much better quality, smoother, longer lasting version of YSLY. Um, uh, Annick Goutal, that's the one it was. Annick Goutal's Oh Hadrian is like a much better version of YSLY in my personal opinion. So there's a lot of good fragrances out there. Um, I think that if you want to find something you connect with, you got to go searching. You gotta go searching, everybody. You might have to dive into the dumpster and get a little bit dirty, but you'll find something good in the end. DJ says, plus nothing more boring than a top 10 list where Dylan Blue, Spice Bomb, Aventus constantly get on the list. That's why I'm personally bored of top 10 videos. Um, I feel you, DJ. I also am very bored with top 10 videos. I do think a top 10 video can be done right. I think it can be done with creativity. I'm still going to do a few of them in the future, but I am not focusing on my channel on top 10s, even if that's what YouTube wants, even if that's what the algorithm wants. I just don't feel like that's the right thing to do, and I felt like I was trying to play the game, this kind of game, and I couldn't be creative as I wanted to and express all the details about a fragrance, the full review. I wanted to talk about the longevity and the compliment factor and the price and all the details. And in a top 10 video, you really can't do that. It'd take too long, and the people, when they watch top 10 videos, they would just want quick snippets. They want you to summarize the fragrance in 30 seconds or a minute. So they don't really want to stick around for a full length review. And if I did one of those, did like 10 full length reviews, the video could be as long as, I don't know, 40 minutes. That'd be kind of crazy, but um, yeah, I don't have a lot of mass appealing blue designer fragrances in my collection. I don't think I have any. The closest one I have to that right now is Dior Homme Eau. I think it's very classy, inoffensive, and easy to wear. But I personally feel like if things get discontinued, it is discontinued, and Dior Homme Eau actually is getting very hard to find. Once something gets a really high price and somebody else wants it, I'm willing to sell it, because I'd rather have the money, and I actually, for that kind of money, for 150 bucks or something, I can buy a niche fragrance, and I would feel much happier with that. And somebody else out there is willing to pay that kind of money, that they want it that badly. I mean, they can have it. That's my personal opinion. I don't, for me personally, uh, there's not a lot of, at least in the designer world, there's not a lot of discontinued fragrances that I would search out for and that I would keep, even though they're beautiful. For example, I really like Midnight in Paris. It was one of the most unique designer fragrances. It wasn't a big top seller. I mean, people need, that's also one of the things people need to realize, that these fragrances that go up in price, these fragrances that are discontinued, these fragrances that are get hard to find, a lot of the reason why they're not around anymore is because they just didn't sell well enough. That's the hard truth of it. Midnight in Paris was not a top seller. Honestly, I don't think it was distributed very well. When it was around, supposedly in stores, I don't even know where it was sold. Where could you even find the darn fragrance? So, and then when it got discontinued, it became, a fragrance fanatic, a fragrance enthusiast, just like you wonderful people here, you 13 people right now. It became a dream, because it was like 20, 25, 30 bucks for the EDP version, a full-size bottle of something that was powdery and unique and charming with a beautiful bottle. So that's the way it works, and everybody got into it for that price. Everybody talked about it in the fragrance world as fragrance enthusiasts, and then the supply dried up, and then the price shot up. That's how things work. And even though I like that fragrance, and I would like to have a bottle of the EDP, it's just not worth paying that kind of money. It's just not worth it for me. I have budgets, and I have bills just like anybody else out there. In fact, I need a new phone. Mine's kind of outdated at this point, and I cracked it today. I was reviewing some videos, and it slipped out of my pocket and fell on the cement. So things like that happen. Um, I don't know. Everybody's different. Some people are going to love discontinued fragrances or rare fragrances, but I'm not that. I don't know. That's just not me. Um, and with your top 10 videos, again, I'm focusing on your comment a lot, but DJ, I agree. When people just put in the popular fragrances because that's what people want and what people hear about, and it's going to really push their content in their video, because YouTube's going to pick up on it. It drives me crazy if I watch a top 10 video, and they talk about, Dior Sauvage, they talk about Aventus, and then they throw in something like Dylan Blue, or Spice Bomb, or something that's pretty popular at the time, and they throw in a Parfums de Marly. Those top tens are driving me crazy, and I don't want to be negative, and I don't not criticizing any channel directly, but recently there's been a number of channels, probably 3 or 4 big channels, and I try to support all fragrance reviewers. I care about everybody, and I try to watch as much people as possible, but I just stopped watching them. And there was a couple that I actually unsubscribed from, because I don't want them pushed into my feed, because I'm not going to watch their content anymore. All they're doing is top 10 videos, and they keep doing the same types of content on fragrances that I'm not interested in. I'm not interested in those fragrances. I don't want to hear about them. I've reviewed them, or I have my own opinion on them, and I don't need to. That's one of the things too. I don't know YouTube's metrics. This is another food for thought, everybody. These people who are doing the top tens, YouTube is pushing their content, but what's their retention like? Are people coming back video after video, subscribing to their channel, and wanting to watch a top 10 list with the same fragrances, over and over and over? What's the retention rate? I don't think YouTube is doing a good job of that. Factoring in, subscriber loyalty, subscribers who actually love their content creators, who comment, who like on their videos. I just don't think they're doing it. I don't think that's working out. Let me see here. Oh, sorry if I ranted too long. Let me see. Let me jump to the next one. But thank you for your comment, DJ. Joseph says the looks of Jeremy and the outfits he's wearing makes all men wanting to be like him in everything, especially in colognes. They've got him a lot of subscribers. I bet 55% are women. I'm not sure about that. I think that a lot of people who watch Jeremy, he is an attractive guy. I'm not trying to put down on him. But the majority of the reason why men watch fragrances and even wear fragrances in general, the majority of the average people on the street, the average guy, is to simply be attractive to ladies and maybe even, have some fun. That's the reason why they wear a fragrance. They're not wearing a fragrance really to express themselves. They're not wearing a fragrance that matches their mood or to feel good or to be artistic or unique. The average guy, especially if they're buying designer fragrances, they just want to be appealing to the ladies, and they want to feel like they've bought something that's good, high quality, that has a good name on it, like a Gucci or Versace, a Prada. They want a name that people recognize, and that's kind of more important than anything in the world. Being attractive to a lady and buying a brand name. They can trust it, they feel comfortable with the brand, and they want to be attractive to a lady. So that's the majority of why people, I think, are even watching Jeremy's channel. And I'm not beating up on Jeremy. He does, he helps people. There's a lot of people out there who want his content and enjoy his content. He has loyal viewers and people who do like him. I'm not discrediting Jeremy at all, but there's a market for everybody. There's a lot of different people out there. There's a lot of different people in the world, different fragrance enthusiasts, different fragrance lovers. Anyways, thanks for your comment there. Making sense, Ben. You do a great job, bud. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate your comment. There's a super mic. I think I'm not even to the super chat yet, but I do see 3.7 up there. Thank you, whoever that was, for the super chat. I'm not expecting anything, but I do appreciate it. There's a super sup Ray making sense in the house, and Ray. And Joseph says, yes, he does making sense. Two best reviewers in the game on the same cast. Yes. There are good fragrance reviewers out there. There are people who are doing individual reviews out there. Redolescence still does individual reviews, and there are some other fragrance reviewers still doing individual reviews. Some people I hear say they're getting discouraged. I say don't get discouraged. Watch the people, support the people who are creating the content that you love. If that happens to be me, I mean, that means the world. Thank you so much. But, there are fragrance reviewers and people who want to stay true to themselves, who want to put out individual content, individual reviews, funny content, unique content, and all kinds of things. If you don't support us, then YouTube's not going to push us. Other people aren't going to be able to find us. And some people, they might get discouraged and they might, I'm not going to leave. I'm not going, and I'm not threatening to leave or anything ridiculous like that. But I'm saying some people might go because it's discouraging. I talked about it 2 times, and I'm not really going to talk about it again. But again, it happened about a month ago. I was losing a lot of views on my channel. It happened like 3 or 4 times where I went back to the metrics every month, and I can see the trend on my channel, and it's just going down like the stock market, like a stock market crash. So YouTube is really, going against my channel and isn't promoting me whatsoever. So if y'all want me to grow, if you like my content, y'all gotta be there for me. So thank you for the love, Ray. And Making Sense says hugs. We're all family here. Thank y'all for being here, everybody. Joseph says, Ray, try the Versace Dreamer. It fits your outfit. Yeah, that fragrance is polarizing to some people, but some people love good old Versace Dreamer. You can't forget about it. It used to be a big fragrance. It used to be something that everybody talked about. Versace the Dreamer. If you haven't tried it, it's a more unique. I think it's a tobacco. I don't think it's a coffee. I could be wrong. I haven't tried it in a while, but it's like an aquatic fragrance. It's a fresh fragrance mixed with, I think it's tobacco, or is it coffee? Correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was tobacco. But anyways, very interesting fragrance. It was one of the ones that kind of started these trends of making designer fragrances a little bit more unique. It kind of helped things with that. I'm here for your support, but if you need to call people out for, I'm here that. Well, I don't want to do any of that directly. I don't want to criticize any channel directly. I just, it's just like with money. If there's companies, if they're pushing some kind of political agenda, I don't like companies doing that in general. If I'm buying I'm just throwing examples out there. If I'm buying napkins, if I'm buying a chair, if I'm buying an automobile, I want to hear about why your napkins are great. I want to hear about why your automobile gets better gas mileage or looks better or is more durable or maybe some of the features. I'm not really a feature guy, but I care more about how it looks and how it performs. I want to hear about the horsepower. I want to hear about, how fast a new kind of suspension system so I can turn faster or get better performance out of the car. I don't want to hear some, kind of message about, some kind of indirect, passive aggressive message about something social, some kind of social change that they want to create. Um, and that happens way too much. It's just, to me, I was making that comparison because there's these fragrance reviewers who are changing their tone, they're changing who they are to get the views, and they know that top 10 videos work. You can do an experiment for yourself. I've done them, but some people have sat down and they've done the math, and you can do a top 10 list with similar fragrances and do an individual review, and you're probably going to get 7 or 8 times as much views on the top 10 list. Um, that's just how it is. You should start selling rocking chairs and review fragrances. You're very funny. I've had some people comment that they really do like those rocking chairs. I, I guess I could try something like that. I'm a very handy person. I didn't build those rocking chairs, but I do like to build things. Maybe I should. I really did want to make furniture for a long time, but I looked into it and um, there's just not a lot of money in it. But maybe I could figure out a way to, be successful with selling furniture. Y'all know that almost everything's coming from China, and they sell things for extremely cheap, and the quality's not as good. But the average person, when they go to the store, they look at the price and they see something that costs half as much, so they buy it because it's half the price of the American product, and then if it breaks, they really don't think about it, and that can really hurt some people if you're. Again, I worked in the automotive industry a little bit, and if you're buying Chinese aftermarket products, it can really hurt you in the long run, especially with safety. I'm just saying that. And when you say that, I had somebody message me on Instagram and asked if I sold fragrances, and I don't sell decants and I don't sell fragrances, but maybe people want that. Maybe I should start. It isn't you that keeps the views low. You're doing excellent. Your content's excellent. I told you. I thought you were wonderful. Yeah, thank you, DJ. Thank you for the support, my friend. You've always been here for me, and it means the world, my friend. Yeah, that's another thing. That's just what I was talking about. I think it's very strange that I have over 300 videos. I've hit that milestone. I have over 300 videos. I have 10 more videos up than Jeremy Fragrance does, and I am, I'm not even. I'm like 100th or even less than somebody, and I have like almost just as much content. So it's kind of crazy. It's crazy. DJ says Escada Magnetism is one of my favorite fragrances, and I bought it for $30 when it came out, but it's discontinued on eBay, and right now it's $200 open. I'd like to see what a sealed bottle would sell for. How much would a sealed bottle go for? 250. These discontinued price. I'm not trying to bash on discontinued fragrances. Some people out there get a fragrance memory and they connect with a fragrance, and buying something discontinued also it's makes it kind of rare and makes it kind of unusual. If you have a vintage batch of a Ventus, if you have a Midnight in Paris by Van Cleef and Arpels, if you have some of these rare fragrances like a bottle of Gucci Pour Homme 1, or what's that one called, like Valentino V everybody talks about. If you have something that in your collection, it's kind of like bragging rights. Some people are kind of into that kind of stuff. So um, I'm not into that. If it gets double the price, double its retail price, 160 bucks or so, I could find a designer fragrance. A lot of them are similar. I could find something just about as good from Fragrance Net for 40 bucks and then have over $100 in my pocket. At least that's my opinion. But I recently did buy Bulgari Extreme and Bulgari Man in Black. I think it's the Orient edition. It's kind of the Oud edition with the more of a copper instead of silver on it. Both of those are discontinued, I think, as well. The Extreme is for sure, and they're getting hard to find. And I had always wanted them, and I bought them, before the prices go up. So if you like Bulgari Man Extreme, if you like the Bulgari Man in Black, the Orient version, that the flanker, buy it now, because the prices. I don't think they're overtly popular. I don't think they're extremely popular, but prices always go crazy. I don't know. I wouldn't know what they're gonna go to, but it gets crazy. Are you connecting with your audience in the chat? I think I am, original Dogman. I'm reading the chat. I'm catching up. I have a lot of comments to check up on. Yeah, DJ, the price is crazy for right now. Or are you just speaking like you're making a review video? I'm live. Do you think I'm live? Hey, I'm here. I'm live. I'm seeing your content. I mean your comment. I'm definitely 100% live. This is not a recording. Um, I it's kind of easy to tell if you're on a live video or not, but I don't know, man. Is this a recording? Am I psychic? I don't know. I'm just teasing you, but Natalie Knight says my scent of the day is Fume Oud Le Vanille by Alchemia. I haven't tried that one, but Alchemia is a wonderful brand. They're indie. They have good prices. Their fragrances smell great. I have what is it called? The Traveler and the Moon. I love that fragrance. It's one of my favorite, kind of creamy, light, kind of comforting fragrances. I really like the brand of Alchemia. Wonderful brand. What's the point of going live if you're not connecting with your audience? I'm definitely connecting with my audience, dog man. I don't know who you are, and I don't know what you're trying to do, but I am definitely connecting with my audience. My personality's out. Y'all can see who I am, and I don't know what you're talking about. So, he literally just said my comment above. He's going through every comment one by one. DJ, he's mentioning people's names. Okay, Natalie, I see. No, another Parfums de Marly on the list. Yes, no more Parfums de Marly on the list. I don't have anything against Parfums de Marly, but I like to joke and tell y'all that Parfums de Marly, I get tired of hearing about them because there are a lot of good niche brands out there. There's new brands popping up all the time. There's so many good niche fragrances that people have not talked about. People don't know about them. People haven't even heard about these brands or fragrances. There's so much variety out there. And just about every turn I take on YouTube, fragrance reviewers, I see a Parfums de Marly. And I'm like, I've already seen somebody do a review on this fragrance 10, 20 times, and there's so much niche out there. There are so many fragrances out there. But y'all know how popularity works. Things trend. Somebody talks about it. The friend of friend talks about it. Somebody reviews it, and somebody else, people hear about it, and then some fragrance reviewers might get influenced, and then they get a sample, and then they want to talk about it. So that's how trends work. Y'all know it's like an avalanche. Things keep growing. Things keep getting bigger. But I really don't follow trends too much. Parfums de Marly is a fine brand. Nothing's wrong with them. For the price, I don't think a lot of their fragrances are worth the $300. If they wanted 150 or $200, I would feel comfortable. Um, you know, I think the quality is just about the same as a Nichane. And I think that Nichane might even be higher quality. And that, a lot of Nichane fragrances are 200 or so. They do have a higher end line that's about 300 or so. But, I don't think that most Parfums de Marly's are worth $100 more than a lot of these really nice fragrances that are, 150 or $200. Like Carnar Barcelona. Do you really think that Carnar Barcelona is only worth 150 or should cost 150 bucks per bottle, and Parfums de Marly is 300 or more? Do you think that Parfums de Marly's the value and the quality is worth like one bottle of Parfums de Marly for two full size bottles of Carnar Barcelona? I don't think so. The same thing with Serge Lutens. Serge Lutens, the quality might not be the same as, I don't know, Parfums de Marly, but Serge Lutens sometimes pulls out amazing florals and amazing notes. Santal Majusculin smells very natural and very high quality to my nose. Amazing fragrance. Cherokee is amazing. Everybody talks about that one, and they have a number of really good fragrance. Serge Lutens actually has a high-end line that almost nobody talks about, and I've only sampled a few of them. They have one called Irreverent, and if you like Gavinci Play Intense and you can't find it, and the discontinued price is too high for you, check out Serge Lutens Irreverent. And I think that line even might be discontinued at this point. So, Robes Awaits in the house. Keep up the great work. Thank you, my friend. Robes Awaits a legit guy. Y'all know that he's been around. He's an OG. He does individual reviews. He doesn't play this game of top 10, playing the game of regurgitating, these fragrances in top 10 lists. So thank you, Robes08. You're legit. I think you've donated to me before, man. I need to like buy something and like put your name on it because with the stuff that you sent me. So thank you, my friend. And I said 3.7 up there because I think that YouTube takes a lot of it. So they took $1.30 away. The same designers over and over and over. That's how it is, my friend. That's how it is, Eric. It's not a bad thing to disagree with someone. I agree. But y'all know how YouTube is. People come to YouTube, and half of the people who watch a review come for their confirmation bias, and half of the people are actually interested in it. And if you just introduce a fragrance, a lot more people are going to watch it, and YouTube seems to like it if you just introduce a fragrance. But if you actually are more critical of the fragrance, I think YouTube might be holding people back. If you're critical of a fragrance or a review, of a brand, especially if the brand takes action against you as a reviewer, I think that YouTube is actually killing individual reviews if you're, critical of a fragrance. If you're neutral or if you're positive about a fragrance, I think that YouTube is kind of allowing you to play along. But I think that YouTube, in my personal opinion, is kind of holding back critical reviews of really anything. If you have a negative review of just about anything, especially if it's a big name brand, things people buy, I think that YouTube is holding those things back because YouTube doesn't want to have that negative connection with brands and companies. If you're, for example, if I was to start a company and I reviewed hotels and I went to hotels around the world and rated hotels, and let's say that I was very, very highly esteemed. Let's say I had 250,000 subscribers and people really paid attention to my content. I could almost make or break or really hurt a lot of hotels. If I got particularly bad service or had a really bad night at some kind of hotel, if I did a negative review, this is all an example. You could really hurt them. And it is the same way. Most of the time, it isn't the case in the fragrance community. But if you're the first person to find an indie fragrance or an indie brand or even some of these niche brands, if they're undiscovered or don't know about them, you could really kind of hurt a company For example, if Robzo8, he's very neutral, he's very kind about fragrances, but if he was to review a niche fragrance and say he really, even if he was kind of neutral, just said he really didn't like it, that would influence, 100,000 people to maybe not buy that fragrance. So, YouTube is a pretty big deal. I don't like the word influencer. I don't like to be considered an influencer, but we do have influence, and that's what YouTube really sees everybody on YouTube as an influencer, one way as another, um, and that's kind of the game they're playing. So. They're not really thinking about viewers. They're thinking about companies. That's how YouTube is, they care about their bottom line. They care about the money. That's what they're doing. So, let's see here. It's YouTube is all about agenda, and they censor and demonetize. Well, I don't want to get into politics, but some of that kind of stuff is going on both ways. If you I actually looked into a report, and if it's anything political that's overtly negative, they're censoring a lot of it either way. I'm not going to get into that, but certain the only time I feel like anybody is suggested or not is maybe when people give snippets. I sometimes see very popular YouTubers, and I do sometimes watch what YouTube recommends just for the heck of it. I'm like, why are you recommending this person to me, YouTube? And I watch their content, and sometimes they'll uh, you know throw something, like somebody from college would say, like a very modern person, and they would throw out something or regurgitate something social wise that everybody, I guess is a social norm. And it seems that YouTube sometimes pushes those kinds of things. This is, I don't know, maybe YouTube wants that kind of stuff. I don't know. But I'm not going to talk about that. DJ says perfumery is an art form. It's why I love Indian niche fragrances, because it's about experimentation and trying to get into new inventory. To me, that's why fragrance is so fun as well. It's very fun to find a fragrance. It's very fun to find something. If if it's something new, something artistic, there's so much variety in the world. There's thousands or hundreds of ingredients, hundreds of aroma chemicals that haven't been created, and there's hundreds of ingredients in the world that we still haven't used, from different ingredients, different plants, and different things. There's there's going to be fragrances and notes in the future that we didn't even think were possible. So I do love it for that. There's so much experimentation, there's so much creativity that goes into creating a fragrance. To me, that is one of the big reasons why I love fragrance. If all we had was designer fragrances in the world of fragrance, I would have bought maybe 5 fragrances and I would have been done. Because I care more about the creativity. I'm with you. I like the variety. I like the art that can go into capturing a moment, capturing an emotion. The way notes can be mixed. If all we had was just plain, just designer fragrances, I wouldn't have made a YouTube channel. Probably I wouldn't be here if all we had was just designers. Because if if you're just here to smell good, that's not hard to do. You just walk into a mall and you just buy, the most popular fragrance, and you're going to smell good. People are going to compliment you, and you're going to, you have that sense of unity, or that sense of, I guess, conformity with culture, because you smell like everybody else. To some people, that's a positive. I want to smell different. I want to smell unique. I don't want to smell like anybody else in the crowd. If I go to a special event, if I go to a high scale event like a party, or some fancy cocktail, kind of dinner, or I don't know, a brunch, if I wear a fragrance, I want nobody else to smell like that in the entire room, and I also possibly want it to be their first time they've ever smelled that fragrance. If you're going to get compliments, uh, sometimes you can wear a mass appealing fragrance. Like, I got a lot of compliments with Nautica Voyage, but also I get a lot of compliments if it's a great fragrance, if it's high quality, if I love that fragrance, if I wear it proudly, and I look nice, I'm looking sharp, and they've never smelled that fragrance before. I mean, that makes people's heads turn. That gets their mind going. especially if a lady and she's interested in you and she's never smelled that fragrance. She doesn't know who you are. You're wearing some clothes maybe that are a new brand that she hasn't heard of. She's curious. She doesn't know what's going on, and your fragrance really can grab people. And to me, that's one of the best things about niche is because you're not smelling like other people. Um, uh, and that's one of the reasons I talked about mass appealing niche as being a negative. Mass appealing niche fragrances, to me, that's kind of an oxymoron. It's kind of contradictory. Um, you can have mass appealing aquatics, you can have mass appealing fragrances that smell great, but to me, niche is about smelling different. And I really don't like this trend of big niche brands making mass appealing fragrances that aren't unique, but they are higher quality. They do smell good. They might smell pretty darn good, but they're not unique. They're not artistic. I'm not saying that every niche fragrance has to be strange. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that there needs to be a special character about it. There needs to be a unique note. There needs to be, some thought that goes into it. And I really don't want niche to go that way. I don't want niche to become a high-end designer. That's one of the things I see that could happen, or maybe is happening. And a lot of these companies also are copycatting each other. A lot more. A niche is doing that a lot more, copycatting other niche that that's if something sells really well, like the Chronic by Byron was copied a lot. Bogart Rouge 540 is copied by a lot of other niche companies, and that kind of stuff. And I don't want that to happen. Anyways, um, more people watch Jeremy because he's at the top of the algorithm. You're very right on that. If the algorithm pushes him, no matter what you're really searching for, it's going to push him. There's been plenty of times I don't even use the search bar on YouTube half of the time anymore. Um, you know, if I'm searching for a general topic, I mean, if like for example, if I was to search a cherry fragrance, I would probably find Lost Cherry by Tom Ford, and I might just get a top 10 list with Lost Cherry from Jeremy Fragrance. And I might have to scroll 5 or 6 reviews down to find an individual review. That's how things are working. That's how the algorithm works. And the average person is going to click on the first video, maybe the second. The majority of people are not going to click on the third, and almost nobody is going to go down to 5 or page 2. Almost nobody goes to page 2. People have done research. Like when you search something on Google on the internet, and you're looking for a certain thing, the average it's only like 2% on average. Only 2% or so of people, I think it was, type in like the second page of like anything. Well, most people want a page to upload on the internet in 5 seconds. People just they like convenience, and that's how it goes. Alex Acosta has not even a real fragrance review yet on his channel, and he does a top 10 list, and everybody searches for his video and less views. You're very right. That's exactly what I'm talking about. A very popular YouTuber or influencer, and there's a lot of makeup YouTube girls, or I guess makeup influencers, and they might do a top 10 video on some kind of perfume because a brand wanted them to. I watched one on what was it called, Scentbird, and she did fragrances based on astrology signs, and I watched it just for the heck of it. And she thought the name of the fragrance was Etet Libre d'Orange. She didn't even know that was the brand. So it's and YouTube is going to suggest them because they have higher subscribers. They're quote unquote authoritative content. And if I search for Scentbird, somebody like her is going to get pulled up to the top. And somebody who actually reviews or talks about Scentbird, that video isn't going to get anywhere. So some people actually aren't ended spray community to the market. Some people just enjoy the passion. Yeah, some people aren't here to really try to get get big. Um, I would love it, but that's not really my intention. I just don't like it and I'm not saying that I deserve or I should have more views or subscribers. What I'm trying to say is that YouTube is holding people like me back. I'm not getting what I deserve. And I think that's the real negative here. We're not all getting treated equally. There's an algorithm, and the algorithm is made to serve or suggest or change certain dynamics and push certain content. It doesn't make things fair for everybody, and they're playing. YouTube's playing their game. YouTube and Making Sense are probably the best to watch right now because you guys broke the mold, and for the average reviewer, Deb has changed the way she has been doing things and working. I don't want to criticize anybody. I think that Deb over there at SwiftSense, I think that she's a wonderful lady, but people are going to follow a trend. You can't or on doing cost effective alternatives. Yeah, cost. A lot of people want to see cost effective alternatives. They want to know how you can save money. They want to come across, find something maybe that can save them money. A lot of people are interested in that, so I can't blame her for doing that at all. So, original Dogman John says, if one of you accepts sponsorships, endorsements, you're not a good reviewer. Um, well, I think it all depends on if you're able to keep your honesty or not. If you accept something for free, for example, and I've talked about this before, you can be 100% honest. And, some companies don't tell you what to say. And if you just accept it for free and then you give people an honest review, I think that's the way to go. If you get big enough as a reviewer, companies are going to come to you. Companies want people to see their products. It's kind of like advertising on the TV. They want their fragrance in front of your face, and they'll give a reviewer a fragrance for free. I don't want to get into the conspiracy theories about who's paid or who's not paid. Some of it does seem extremely suspect, but I can't. I'm not gonna point a finger and say anything for certain, but there is somebody who's very involved or has very much promoted Parfums de Marly, and I think it was on Instagram. I saw it just popped up. I wasn't even spying on this person, this fragrance reviewer, and they're going to some kind of summit or some kind of business or kind of event for Parfums de Marly in Dubai. So to me, that's really suspect. If but again, you could be this person could be completely honest, and maybe the company loves them, and this person loves the company. That could be happening. But if you're that close with a company and you're not telling people a little bit more of the details about what's going on, like did you even pay for those fragrances? I don't know. This person hasn't said if they paid for those fragrances or not. Why do you talk about them so often? And what are you doing at this summit for Parfums de Marly? So there are some things out there that are happening like that. I don't know who's getting paid. I don't know. I think that you can be honest and get paid. I think it all depends on how moral you are. I think it depends on your attitude. I think it depends on a lot of things. I think that somebody out there could take money and could get a good fragrance. I mean, get a free fragrance and be 100% honest. It just takes a lot of ethics because once somebody gives you money, you want to keep getting that money if you do get any money. And then you don't want to criticize the brand and you want to be a little bit nicer to the brand and be a little bit more, not say anything critical about the brand. That would be a real temptation for a lot of people. I could see that, but I don't want to label anything like I don't want to make a blanket statement at all. So we don't support YouTube. Yeah, you could do that. We could all boycott YouTube, but YouTube is the biggest around, just like Google. I changed my browser from Google. I don't like what Google does. I don't like how Google sells your information. I don't like what they're trying to do with our people's cultures and all kinds of different issues. And they also usually don't have the best features. So you can definitely find a different YouTube browser, but I think it's like 70 or 80% of people, who use the internet use Google, and they don't even know that there's really different browsers out there. So, that's kind of the way it's going to be with a lot of things. Jeremy Fragrance, I don't know if he's ever been paid by anybody in particular, but it might have happened. But people are going to go. That's how it works. That's how it works. It's discouraging because corporate, yeah, yeah, people are influenced by free things. That can definitely it can influence people to not be honest. It can influence to be a little bit more positive. If you're a fragrance reviewer and you get something that's expensive, $150 fragrance, a $200 fragrance, $250 fragrance, and you get these kinds of things for free, that could mean a lot to you. And even if you don't love the fragrance as much, that could mean a lot to somebody to get something for free. So I see your point. And continue to lose views unless morals and ethics first. Yeah, morals and ethics are definitely very important, my friend. Very first. Um, what's going on? How you doing, my friend? How you doing, Fabrico? Actually, I only have like 10%, if that, on my phone. My power's running out, but we're talking about YouTube kind of pushing authoritative content, and we're talking about anything and everything under the sun. Um, if you want to grow a backbone first, I'm not sure what you mean about that, man. I'm not sure what you mean. What's up, Robes Await? I love you, man. Much respect from Iraq. Yeah, Joseph, you're one of my brothers over there. Fantastic. Good to see you, as always. I come to you today with a great business opportunity. Oh, man, it's already happening, man. People are offering me $200 fragrances and telling me that I have to be positive and telling me what I got to say. It's already happening, everybody. Not we're all family here. Why do you? What are you talking about, man? I don't know. Maybe somebody is a snake. Maybe somebody's watching me here and doesn't like me. I don't know. I can't see who's lurking. There's 18 people right here, right now, and I don't know if everybody likes me or not. But I'm not going to worry about that. I'm addressing and I'm talking to my audience. I'm talking to people who love my videos and want to befriend me, and I'm going to have that positive attitude. I'm going to have that positive kind of outlook because I care about the people who are watching me right now. I'm not going to rant and rave that there's maybe a few other fragrance reviewers or people in general out there in the world who don't like me. I'm talking to right now is my people who like me and people who support my content and all that kind of stuff. So, love the haircut, by the way. Um, my goodness, something crazy is going on over there. I hear owl, hear something screeching. Um, I probably need to get that little dog in. He could be in danger. So of the owls. So don't want that to happen. Invent a revolving fragrance caddy. That would be interesting. I could do that. You say great cabbage at prices. Cabbages. What are we talking about? Love the haircut. Thank you, my friend. I don't really style my haircut too much. I got this old world swoosh. I really don't style my fragrance too much. Maybe you should criticize other channels. I don't know if he buys subscribers. I have no idea if he does or not. Cali Gent, who buys his subscribers. I don't know if these people buy their subscribers or not. There have been quite a few number of people who have surpassed me in subscriber count and views, and they continue to grow bigger and bigger, faster and faster than I have. I don't know if their content's better than mine. I have no idea. Some of them really promoted things like TJ Maxx and Ross hauls. And I even did a haul video one time, I think from FragranceNet or something, and I got almost no views. Their haul video from TJ Maxx or whatever it was got like 10 times as many views as I did. I've never bought subscribers, I've never bought views, and I never will. But I don't know who is or who's not. There is one fragrance reviewer, and I have a way. I know how to look up certain metrics. And when they first started, they went sky high, and after a certain point, they started to trickle down slowly, and then they hit like a steady plateau. So I don't know who's buying subscribers, but there are some things out there that's really suspicious. I got something out here that's screeching at us, and the dogs are going crazy. I got an owl I can hear over there, and we got something screeching. Come on, Cookie. Cookie. So I got to bring these dogs in. My phone's about to run out of power, so I should go soon. But let me catch up with these comments real quick. Sell a formula. I don't know. I don't know. That's the weirdest owl. It howls and it screeches, or maybe it's a screech owl. Got to protect these little dogs. Centaur, called the Centaur Swish. I'm glad y'all like my hair. Thank y'all so much for the compliments and the friendships. You don't like companies doing what General Armoff wanted them is Stefan Fragrance. I don't know. Maybe Stefan Fragrance does like Armoff. I don't know if he's positive or if he likes them. Stefan at Robes at Redolescence, I think he does a pretty good job. I mean, he overviews fragrances and he does accept stuff for free, but I think he's doing a good job. I don't think he's a shill. I don't know if he's accepting money, but he is neutral about fragrances. But that's the way he wants to be. Um, it's okay, Cookie. What's up, my brother? We got my dog's freaking out because of this owl. We got some owl trouble. I might have to get out here and see if I might have to protect the property. Old countryman style. It says, why doesn't he talk about Stefan's fragrances being clones? I don't know if they're clones. I've heard that rumor. I've heard that gossip. I don't know if they're clones. I haven't smelled those fragrances. Dogman is the trolling king. I don't know who Dogman is. I don't know who he is. Anthony live stream. I'm not debating. I don't even know what you're talking about there. I saw one video where you cried. One where you cried about basically said, "Oh, are you talking to original Dogman Ray? You guys keep turning everything." I don't know. I don't know, Dogman. If you have some views or if you have some insight, I don't know if you're a fragrance reviewer. You can feel free to post on Facebook. A lot of people love to get into stuff on Facebook, and you can have your YouTube channel. Truffles, come here. Truffles, come here, Truffles. So, Truffles, I gotta bring these dogs in. He's actually really small. He's a mini Dachshund. He's about the size of like a puppy that's, I don't know, 4 months old or something. So I don't want him to get taken and eaten by this screech owl out here. You need a moderator. I'm not worried, but I can block him if I need to. My phone's almost dead. I'm about to run out of power any second. So, and I need to bring these dogs in. Truffles, come here. Creativity. I don't think clones aren't about creativity. Clones are about saving people money and creating something that's a copycat. Clones aren't about creativity, in my opinion. I like both indie and niche. I think over time that I'll grow to like indie more than niche, but right now it's probably niche. A lot of niche is overpriced, in my opinion, though. I'm in the south. I'm near the Gulf of Mexico. I'm near I'm near Bayou Land. I gotta go soon, everybody. I'm sorry if I'm not catching up with your comments. I'm trying to read them. Get rid of this Castro. Yeah, I'm not sure what he's trying to say. I'm trying to catch up with the comments. Kalan is trash. You don't like that fragrance. Matt Strom, Kalan. Delina exclusive. Delina was really nice. I bet the exclusive is pretty nice too.